Good afternoon. Good morning. It's Friday. How's everyone doing? Okay, here we go. If you can see me okay, you can hear me all right, put it into the chat, let me know. Any issues as well, put it into the chat, let me know. Good morning, KLE. How are you doing? Let's give it a minute or two before we get started. So hang in there. Just want to make sure everything's working fine. Thanks for that, Ayakami. How are you doing? Good morning. Okay. Looks like it's working good. Alrighty. Fantastic. Okay, let's give it a minute or two before we get started. Hope you're all well. How do you go on the CPI, US CPI news release last night? Let me know, let me know. Okay, just want to make sure it's all good, all good, all good. Fantastic. Yep, yep. Alrighty, cool. Seems like it's all working good. If you're on the session, if you're new to the session, do drop a message, say hi, let me know where you're joining us from. For all the regulars, big welcome back. Thank you for joining me. It is Friday, the 12th of January, end of the week. It's been a bit of a quiet week. Well, not quiet, but it's been a bit of a consolidative week. We did see a bit of volatility, a little bit of liquidity return back last night with the release. A little bit of a surprising release from the US CPI numbers was released at about at 3.4. I'll tell you more about that shortly. So I hope you guys have been trading well. If you have any trades or any particular trades you'd like me to look at, do put it into the chat and let me know. We're happy to look at that with you guys. And if you have any questions at any point in time, please feel free, put it into the chat and let me know as well. All right. And lastly, if you can help me out massively, do remember to click that like and subscribe button, whichever platform you are watching this on. That would help massively to ideally get more people onto the streams, and also the link is there for the Discord channel to get more people onto our trading community on Discord. Now, with that said, a quick disclaimer: any information contained on this webinar should not be construed as advice and is presented as educational material. Please do your own due diligence, as the contents of this webinar are not intended to be a recommendation to trade a financial product, as your objectives, financial situation and needs has not been considered, and you should consider its appropriateness to your circumstances. Alrighty. With that, let's get to it. Let me just do something first. Give me 30 seconds. Alrighty. Okay. So with that said, so what happened last night since the last time we spoke till now? I'm getting a bit fluey right now. Okay, so last night we did have the US CPI number, inflation growth number, being released at 9:30 p.m. GMT plus 8. It was 3.1. We were looking at, market expectation was a 3.2. Even at my most upside expectation, I thought it could have got to a 3.3. We spoke about that yesterday, but quite surprisingly, it came out at a 3.4, or it came out at 3.4. So higher than, slightly higher than expected CPI number, bit of a jump from the previous. What you should see here as well is that in November, we actually saw a big drop, right? We saw a big drop from 3.7 down to 3.2. In December, it pretty much set relatively unchanged, 3.2 to 3.1. So now at a 3.1 to a 3.4, looks like a little bit of a bounce up before hopefully a resumption of that downward trend towards the Fed's target of 2 to 3%. Okay, so like I was saying, I think during another live stream on Tuesday, not surprising that we see a bit of a jump here in terms of the CPI data, because right, it's inflation, it's growth of inflation, it's due to activity, it's due to demand, right? Why does inflation, or rather just a bit of background, why was inflation so high? Right? Why was inflation so high? It was really because of two main factors in the economy. The first one being a reduction of supply, right? A reduction of supply. We saw the war in Ukraine, we saw disruptions over COVID, we saw all that lead to a reduction in supply. So first, less supply, cost of goods goes up. That's why we see inflation. Inflation's cost of goods moving to the upside. Then also another factor is increased demand, right? Increased demand, because during COVID, the government was, especially the US government, was pumping a lot of money into the people, not pumping into the people, or pumping money to the people, right, to try and stimulate the economy, to try and create more activity. So with that money, and people not spending money by traveling, there was a bit less things to spend money on. We saw an increase in demand. So there's two things: increase in demand and a reduction of supply, that led to that CPI number, all the way through. It came as high as 9.1% in July 2022, and then it stayed quite high and it's slowly coming back down. So that was the background of why we had CPI being so high, and why I was anticipating a little bit of a higher number here is because, again, demand increasing. We're looking at December's data. During December, we have Christmas in the US, or around the world we have Christmas. Christmas causes more retail sales, causes more demand, and that's why we saw an increase in the CPI, a small increase in the CPI year-on-year number here. And also another factor to consider with the CPI, slight CPI increase, is also employment, right? If I scroll back to what we saw on Friday last week, US unemployment rate stayed at 3.7, non-farm employment change 261, very good employment numbers. If you think about it, if everyone is working, well, not everyone, if a lot of people are working, employment is very good, they're all earning money, what's going to happen? They're going to have more money, demand is going to increase again, or going to be sustained or increase slightly, right? So strong employment numbers, yes, every economy needs strong employment numbers, but sometimes having the employment numbers too strong is also going to play a part in preventing the CPI or the inflation growth number from really dropping lower, right, or having a sustained drop to the downside. So that's why we saw last night, just based on December's employment numbers and December's possible increased retail sales numbers, we saw the CPI number for the US go from a 3.1 to a 3.4. Okay, came out at 3.4. Not a big surprise to us because we were planning 3.1 to 3.3 or 3.4. The dollar index was likely to bounce up, but still remained within the range of 102 and 102.70. Look what happened. When we were talking about it, when we were talking about the dollar index, it was right at that point there, right? It did bounce up, and also it remained within that range of 102.70 and came right back down again, right? Came right back down again. So a push up during the release of the news, right? Stronger CPI number. We saw that push up because, again, it drags out. Let me bring that one up as well. It drags out the timeline for a potential rate cut to come from the US or from the Feds, right? 95.3 was 95 point, so it's slightly unchanged, but it drags it out a little bit or confirms that likelihood. In March, we're looking at, it was 32.6, now dropped down to 28.6, so it's dragging it out a little bit. Okay, so we're looking at, where am I? That one where it pushed up and then after that came right back down, still remaining within the range of 102 and 102.70. Okay, yeah. Hi Jamil, how are you doing? Hey Joki, hey Erwin, hey Diana, hey Jimmy, hey Pip's Apprentice. Yeah, I just went ahead. I just had this CPI thing that I really wanted to share with you guys, the background of it, of why we saw CPI climbing that much. So I wanted to share that, so I just rambled on for a while. Hey Aisha, good morning, how are you doing? Hey Goju, good morning, how are you doing? So yeah, I did have a couple of trades. I'll tell you more about the trades I got into and made money and lost money on from yesterday. Hey Desiree, how are you doing? Jamil had a fantastic trade, or I said fantastic trade, Jin. I hope you had a fantastic trade too, Jamil. Okay, so what was I saying? I explained about the CPI. No big surprise, or slightly higher than expected, but no big surprise there. Dollar index moved as we had expected, remaining within the range of 102 and 102.70. For today, look at that. We just had that release, right, at 3 p.m. So 13 minutes ago, was minus 0.3, expected 0.2, came out at a 0.3% here. This is the pound or the UK GDP month on month, right? UK GDP month on month. And if you remember from the session I did together with Darius at Easy Markets, I was saying GDP for the UK could come out better than expected, but it was unlikely to have any big upside on the pound dollar and what we're looking at as a result of that news release, right? We saw it just pushed up a little bit, but it looks like it's pushing back down right now. Right, it looks like it's pushing back down right now. Again, most likely also because of that dollar strength, slight dollar strength right now, right on this candle, pushing to the upside. That's why we're seeing a lot of pairs across the board losing ground against the dollar right now. Okay, so that is the so-called major news for now. All the way through to 9:30 p.m. GMT plus 8 tonight. PPI, right? Question you might have, is PPI important? PPI is the producer price index. So CPI yesterday was a consumer price index. whether people are spending money and how much are they, the cost of goods of buying, right? Producer price index is the cost of production, right? The price of finished goods and services. And now looking at this going possibly month to month, PPI going from a 0.0%, going up slightly to a 0.1%, could again most likely be 0.1 or 0.2, I think. Mainly why I think it could be a little bit higher is being driven or as a component of the CPI data that we saw last night. Right, we saw a stronger CPI, so it could be because of higher producer prices or cost of production, leading to that increased CPI as well. So maybe 0.1, maybe 0.2 here, but I think that with the dollar index, you look at it, this is Monday, where was it? Monday this week. Right, Monday it started, this was, yeah, Monday at 6 a.m. It started right, where was it? Right here, right? It started right here at 102.44. It started at 102.44. It went up a little bit. It came down, tested 102, bounced right back up, came down, came close to 102 again, bounced right back up, and then came back down again. Now looking like it's pushing back up again. So I think that the dollar index for this week has been sitting in that horizontal range, 102 to 102.70. I don't expect a big move for today, right? We do have PPI, but I don't expect a huge move for today on the dollar index. Maybe another push back up to that resistance area. What's slowly forming here on the dollar index as well is a bit of a double bottom scenario, right? A double bottom scenario there. So looking for it to push back up. There is also the risk as we look at a possible double bottom that we could have a bit of a shoulder, head, and then if that does that, shoulder with the neckline there to the downside. Right, so we have conflicting patterns here on the dollar index. Could have a double bottom to push higher, could have a head and shoulder to break to the downside. Ultimately, I think that for today, for this week, it's likely to stay within this range because we don't have any big major news events that could push prices in either direction. Make sense so far? Hey YJ, how are you doing? Make sense so far? I've just rambled on for about 15 minutes. Just want to make sure that you guys are on track. You kind of know what I'm talking about. Put it into the chat. Let me know. Let me know. Okay, anyone? All good? Alrighty. Okay, fantastic. No questions means it's all good, I guess. Now with that, thank you, Diana. With that quick overview of what we could be looking out for next week. Remember, 15th of January, we are on a US bank holiday, Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So it's going to be a holiday on the 15th of Jan. I'm still going to be here for you guys. I'm not thinking that it's going to be a super quiet session. I think that we might still see some movements, a little bit lower than usual, but we're still going to see some movements. And also, if you think about this, given that we are on a Friday heading into the weekend and the US is going into a long weekend, likely, and this is going to add on to the reasons why I think that today it's likely to sit a little bit or continue to sit within that range. Okay, And then on to Tuesday next week, look at that. That's going to be quite important. Canadian CPI data to be released. Tell you more about that on Tuesday, but we're looking at the UScad together with employment numbers for the UK, followed on with, remember Wallace speaking again, economic outlook and monetary policy. So maybe let's look out for comments on that on Wednesday from the US Fed's CPI data to be released for the UK on Wednesday. Watch out for that Wednesday 3 p.m. It's going to coincide with our live stream like today. It's going to coincide with our live stream. I'm very tempted to do a live trading session together with you guys at 3 p.m. So I'll fire up the MT4 and MT5. I've got several platforms. So I'll fire up the trading platforms, and we might be looking to get into some trades together during this session on Wednesday. So watch out for that. Retail sales number for the US at 9:30 p.m. on Wednesday. Going to watch out for that as well. And then Thursday employment numbers, I'm not too bothered. Not too bothered about that either. UK retail sales number and consumer sentiment for the US on Friday, with preliminary UOM, University of Michigan inflation expectations that could again have some impact on the overall price volatility. So it looks like this week has been sitting in that range, but we might, I say this all the time whenever it's in the range, but we might be looking at price stage a breakout. Not early next week, maybe more to the middle of next week. Okay, so today being the 12th of Jan, for CPI, we're looking at, oh no, not CPI, for the dollar index, we're looking at it right now at 102.32. I'm thinking that it, well, definitely is going to remain, or not definitely, most likely going to remain within the range of 102 and 102.70. Right? So we might see some brief upside, but remained within the range of 102 and 102.70. So what I'm looking for is a bit of a push to the upside like that. Okay. Not super exciting, but I think that's going to give us some short, smaller target levels to head towards. Okay. With that said, then looking at the Kiwi dollar, yesterday, I was anticipating before the session, before the news, the CPI number, we're thinking that it's going to come up, test that resistance and push down. It did not do that, unfortunately. It sat right there. So it was still a good setup. Anyone go on to the Kiwi dollar, let me know. It was still a very good setup actually. Just that it did not retrace higher. It sat right across on release of the news. As we expected, dollar strength, we saw the Kiwi dollar push down. So you could have still, if you got into that, even at that point, had a 30 pip move to the downside. Right? You would have a trade like that, 15, 20 pip stop loss, 30 pip take profit to the downside. That would still be a very good trade, just that it did not move back as much as I expected. You'd see that again, just guiding you on how to use the Bollinger Bands. Once it was outside of the Bollinger Band, you would want to get out of the trade. I'll zoom in a bit more, because you see the next hour it comes right back in all the way to that point, pushes back down again, still outside the Bollinger Band, comes right back in again, and it's outside the Bollinger Band, right back in. Then when you see this, take that away, when you see those tails of rejecting that 0.62 level, that's the big hint to you that price is going to go back up again. All right, and so we saw it push right back up to where it started from. Okay, so just some idea on how to time or how to plan an exit level. So that was the idea from yesterday, the trade setup from yesterday. Right now again, very close, inverse of the dollar index. We have a double top at that resistance level or interim resistance level of 6255. We have a double top scenario, could be pushing back down again. What you see here is the dollar is looking like it's pushing back up. So what you could be looking out for here is, I would say that, you know, it's not that much space to hit lower. There's not that much space for it to hit lower. So you could even be looking at a move like this, right? Break 38.2. You could look to sell it down. So 623, I want to say 6235, but you want it to break past that point first. So 6232, for example, you would say stop loss is tight. You know, no more than 15 pips. That's very generous already. I want it to break this level, and then stop loss, take profit could go down to 35 towards yesterday's low, or even towards that point there at 45. All right, looking at this, that level is still okay. Yep. We're looking at that break, this point. I would actually like it to go past that. So below 6230, your stop loss would be still 15 pips. Your take profit would be 43 to the downside there. Dinah just said even Bollinger Band lines act as support and resistance in that case. A solid support. Yep. Where was it again? Yep. So you got Bollinger. It's a bit further away. But yeah, you got a support level there, you got your interim level there, and Bollinger lines there showing you that if it's outside of that point, it's going to come back in again. So Kiwi dollar, I'm looking at 6230, 15 to 43. Okay, so it did not retrace and reject, it just dropped from there. So looking to sell at 0.6230, stop loss 15, take profit 43 to the downside. Okay, there we go. Aussie dollar, anyone go onto the Aussie? Hey, Create Genius, how are you doing? So Aussie dollar, I was saying, you know, if you're aggressive, you can look to sell this down to that support level, and then as it breaks lower, you can, you know, that was the big move that we were thinking. But again, you see that as it was way outside of the Bollinger, it came right back in. That should have kind of told you that it would be off as a trade setup, right? And then you see Kiwi dollar bounce, you see Aussie dollar anticipating the Aussie dollar to bounce as well. So if you did get into that trade, you would have a 20 pip take profit before it bounced right back up outside Bollinger. You should have closed on that trade. If not, it would have hit your stop loss on a minus 20 pips. My nose is driving me crazy again. Okay, then on the Aussie now, right? There is a chance. Again, it's going to be very similar to what we saw yesterday. There is that chance. Dollar index pushing back down again. Dollar index pushing back up, pushing the Aussie dollar down. What you should be or could be looking for here is, okay, I'm just thinking again. I don't see why it should move that much. That's why I'm hesitating a little bit. Okay, I'm actually just thinking of that point there, which coincides with that point there. I would actually think that, see, you don't want to be selling anywhere here, right? And you want to sell only when it breaks, and if it breaks, there's not that much space. I would actually say that maybe it's a better idea not to try and squeeze out some pips on the Aussie. So it's a do nothing here. All right. So we have the Kiwi dollar with that potential move to the downside. There is a bit more space to move, while the Aussie dollar, even if I looked at this as what I'm looking at, or what I'm thinking here, is that the Aussie dollar is most likely going to push down, right? The Aussie dollar is most likely going to push to the downside, but it's not an H1 kind of trade. It'll be a trade that you want to look at on a smaller time frame. It's a trade that you want to kind of closely manage, because there are a couple of levels here that you want to pay attention to, right? So that's why I think that, yes, it looks like it's going to go down, but not an H1 kind of trade. It might be an M15. You see that, then you can try and sell it down, or intraday scalp it down towards that 6650 level, right? But not on the H1. Let me think again. Yeah, see, there's only a 30-something pip move. Even if I did 15, it would be in the middle. I don't like that. I want it to be at least 20-something. So I'm not super keen on the Aussie, although I think that is likely to hit to the downside. Okay. Jamil is just saying that yesterday 6 trades on the pound on the sell, and take 59 pips per trade. About very good. I think you're stacking, that was the pound dollar, so I think you're stacking your trades on 659 each, 354 pips in total. Fantastic. Very nice. A virtual high five, right? Or take profit hit. So that was the pound dollar that we were looking at. I got into that as well. I did get into the pound. That was a 60 pip move. Yeah, 59, fair enough. And after I take a buy, only 1 trade and hold, but in profit. Oh, you bought it back up. Okay. So you had 6 trades. How did you get 6 trades on the way down? I had one trade. I took 60 pips, and I was very happy with that. Six trades on the way down. Okay. And then you bought it back up. It might be coming back down now, Jamil, so just be careful with that. All right. Okay. Then, so we'll come back to that. Prince Philip OG just said, I'm long buyers EU and AU in from yesterday bottom. Long buyers, yesterday's bottom. Okay, you bought there, pushed up. I'll tell you the story about EU. I was so annoyed, but after that, very happy. Currently 44 on Aussie and 22. Looks like the EU might come back down, so just be careful of that. Aussie, looks like it's coming back down again. So if you're long biased, maybe it could. There is still some upside. But I think first a downward move and then bounce back up. You have a 44 pip profit on the Aussie, which I think it's, about there. So that's 40 pips. Maybe it might come back down. So just be careful with that, all right? Might come back down a little bit and then push back up, test. So it might do, I think what the Aussie could do is something like that, and then break down, maybe, or push back up. Okay, may or may not. Yeah, I mean, all our trades may or may not work. There's no 100% anyway.
Okay, Soon just asked any potential sell trade for pound yen. Let me get through the yen and then we'll look at the pound dollar and then we'll look at the pound yen with that. So dollar yen, I didn't get any trade there. I was hoping to sell it down. I was getting excited as it was pushing down and it spiked up on release of the news. Went up, tested that resistance. So that double top is gone. Right, tested that resistance and then did not break above, came right back down to the support level. What I want to do here is also do that. Okay, take those away. We've got 50, so it shot up, tested 50, and now looking like it's pushing back up again. I don't need this line because it broke quite easily. I don't need that level as well. Okay, so what I'm looking at here on the what I'm looking at here on the US yen is 50% tested, bounce, dollar index looking like it's pushing back up. So what we what am I doing? What we're looking for again here on the dollar yen, push back up. I think it's not done with its upward move or might renew its upward move. So 23.6 is right there. Right, needs to push back up. Then I would be looking to go long 145.40, take profit 90, well, it could go 100 pips to the upside. Stop loss, you'd go 60 pips, so you're size down on that. I wouldn't move that any nearer because we could be fluctuated out of that setup. So 60 to 100. Not a super good risk to reward there on the US yen. Bounce, break. Yeah, I would still keep that level. 145.40. 145.40, stop loss 60, take profit 100 to the upside. Okay, then on to the sit there. Okay, I'm still okay with that. Pound dollar pushing down. I got onto that as it was being, in fact, I got in a little bit earlier. I got in on at 9. I had my take profit there, but I got out at that point. So it tested, got about that point there. So yeah, just under 60 pips, right? So that was my 60 from last night on the pound dollar. Right now looking like another push to the downside. All right, what you see here is that move on the pound on upward channel there. Okay, bit of an upward channel on the pound. Firstly, we got that level there. We also have that level there. So you see that pushing back down right now. It could come down to test this level here. Put it there. It could do that to this point here. Okay. However, if you look at that, looking to sell down, say 1.2753, it's only a 30-something pip move to the downside. Just be careful of that. I think it's a bit too low. Right? I think it's still coming down. What I would be looking for instead on the pound dollar would be that maybe it comes down and then it bounces back up. Right? We've seen that work very well here on the pound dollar multiple times across. So what I would be looking for here is for it to test and bounce, buy it up, 1.2735, stop loss tight, no more than 20 pips. Oops, where is it? 20 pips. Take profit could be up to 1.2817. Jamil has it at 1.2811, so we're quite close. I would say you can have that, but your first hesitation level, I would say, would be about 1.2770. Okay, so writing it up, just to, because I blabber on a bit, so just putting it into context. Pound dollar needs to retrace, needs to bounce, looking for it to bounce off bot channel. Right, we're looking to buy at 1.2735. 735. Stop loss of 20, take profit of 80 to the upside. And then we have a hesitation at 1.2770. 1.2770. There we go. All right. Make sense so far? Okay, make sense so far? Put it into chat, let me know. And then, so with that in mind, looking at the pound yen, that worked out well. Question from Surin is sell trade on the pound yen. I haven't looked at this for a long time, so let's clear that out. Let's try again. There we go. That one's going to do that. That's holding that up. Thanks, Ayakami. And that one's holding prices resistance. There we go. Yep. So holding resistance there. We have a support down here. Okay, that makes sense. Then just quick fib up there. It's at about that 23.6 level. I like that where it is. And again, if we took that whole move up, that point, okay, that's that point there. It's a dotted line. Okay, so now we have those levels we're thinking of. Again, quick reminder is on the pound dollar, we're thinking that it could come down and then bounce. Maybe could come down and then bounce back up. While the US yen looks like we're going to see another push, possibly another push to the upside. Yen has a support at 185.38, 185.38. Now it's gone past your support already. 185.30. Yeah, it's gone past your support because it's at 185.24. So the question is, do you think it's going to break to the downside? I think what could happen here on the pound yen is that it could break, or rather it's worth a try. If it breaks down from this trend line area, breaks out of trend line area 185, it breaks below 185, you could be looking, I don't think it moved that much, 75 pip to the downside. You have a very tight stop loss of 30 pips, right? So what I'm looking for is for it to sit there and then break down. You can look for that move, right? Yeah, there we go. I'm actually considering, why I'm pausing and why I'm hesitating a little bit is I'm considering the possibility of it doing that as well. Right, coming back down, break, and then goes back up, which I think could be quite a high possibility. I wouldn't, in fact, I'll revise that and say I wouldn't be too happy to sell on the pound yen. Look at that. It's been a big upward push, right? It could come back down, but we're anticipating US yen to push up. We're anticipating pound dollar to drop a bit, but maybe push back up a bit again. So on the pound yen, looks like it could drop, right? If you want to sell it down, it's not something that I would set and forget, right? It would be something that I would look to manage. It could come down to that point before pushing back up, and that's only a from here to here, there's only it's a 70 pip move to the downside, but it could stop anywhere between these two levels and bounce back up again. And you want it to break that level before you sell, so it's only about 50 pip move. I would prefer to look for reaction along that point and then push back up again. And Jamil agrees. Jamil says, look for it. Look, I only look to buy trade. Yeah, follow the trend. We'll look to follow the trend. Okay, Sirin, hope I answered your question there. If break and sell possible to TP 183.10? No, I don't. Especially just for today, I don't think there should be that big a move unless the pound dollar has that massive drop. It breaks. Right, if the pound dollar breaks that trend line and goes like that, then sell the pound dollar, sell the pound yen, sell the pound everything else. All right. Okay, disclaimer applies, but you know, if it breaks that trend line, big downside on pound, then yeah, it would. But we want to see what happens at this level first. Okay, and then. I will get to, Diana, I will get to Swiss yen once we get past Swiss. Craig James was saying about the Kiwi yen. I don't have that. Kiwi yen, let's look at that. Looks like a good selling point, he said. Let me do that, okay. Kiwi yen, same, looks very similar to the pound dollar, right? And remember, Kiwi, we're looking at that pushing down. So there seems to be more of a downward push on the on the Kiwi dollar. Still needs to break past that point. So on the Kiwi yen, again, it does have that level that I'm paying attention to, which is very similar, very close to those levels, and also that level. So that's a good resistance turned support. What you want to be looking at is what happens at that point, which is 90.40. What happens at that point? If it breaks, maybe you can sell it down because we're expecting a downside on the Kiwi, or if it bounces back up, near term resistance would be about there. Buy back up, or if it breaks down, you have that as your next support level, you can sell it back down. Okay, so again, relatively straightforward there on the Kiwi. Look what happens on the Kiwi yen. Look what happens on the Kiwi dollar first. Reaction at 90.40. If it breaks, could look to sell down. If it bounces, look to buy it up. Alrighty. Now on to the, I did that. Wait, did I do that already? Bounce off channel. Yes, I've done that. Euro dollar. Okay, euro dollar. I'll tell you what happened. what happened on euro dollar. So I did that, right? I did that trade. As we looked at it, I'll drag that one across. As we looked at that, it came down. I was like, great, triggered, right? Triggering. I rushed into that, got into that trade, bounced off, went up, hit a 20 pip stop. Hit a 20 pip stop on my euro. Then again, before just at 9, as it tested, I'll show you the M15 time frame here. No, M5. Right, so we did that. So as it came up and tested that level, I was thinking, great, close of the hour, testing that level. I started coming back down again. I thought, can I sell it down? So I got in. This is again before the news got into that. I think 109.85 I got in. Yeah, 109.85, maybe about that point there. Right, and then as it was pushing down, I had my stop up there. I think at my stop was way up. Where am I? Yeah, up past that point. So I had that dotted line there, and I put my stop just above that point. So it came so close to hitting my stop again for the second time. I was like, oh my God, what's happening? Right? Came very close, and then news came out. So I wanted to get in before the news, came straight back down, and then closed out at a good, I think it was about 54, 53 or something, 52 I think, 50 something pips to the downside. This was an M5 time frame, right? So super happy on the euro, lost one trade, made one back, and then made on the pound as well. So that's done and dusted. Diana says, well, as per my analysis on Kiwi Yen, I look at that point 2, 90.40. Daily time frame, I know what DTF, daily time frame, external, internal liquidity taken, no price retrace to fair value gap. If it holds, then the level, at that level, the price will go up. Yeah. I like when I'm aligned, or when we're aligned with Jamil, when we're aligned with Diana. It makes the analysis sound so simple. It makes it look so straightforward. I'm glad that you guys are on the session and we're all aligned. Let's look at making the profits together. All right, market has been choppy. When do you think we will go back to more defined trading charts? I don't mind choppy charts per se. I just don't like the lower liquidity. So I don't mind if it's choppy. I just want a little bit more movements. Maybe next week. AJS, I'm not sure when you'll come back in, but I think maybe next week. Yeah, I always tend to recover, because if I don't recover, I don't go to sleep. I'll just keep trading. Nah, that's terrible. Only if it moves, right? So I do watch news and I'll try and plan my trades. So all that. What was I talking about? Euro dollar. Okay. Dollar index, looking at it's pushing back up, sitting right there. It's retracing right now. So we're looking at this pushing back up. So euro dollar, we do have that channel continuing, right? That channel continuing, but it is, look at that middle line. It is very close to that middle line. If you were thinking, oh, it's at the middle line, can I sell it down from that point? Stop loss tight, take profit there. Maybe, but I wouldn't like it that much. I think that what you could instead be looking for, anticipating that the dollar index is going to stay within the range, look for that to come down and test and bounce, especially past those levels there. So very similar to what we've been talking, bounce off. So 109.40, 45, stop loss no more than 15. Take profit could go to 50 to the upside. There we go. Again, very similar. This one looking to bounce off channel again. We're looking to buy at 1.09 45, 15 to 50. 109 40 0945. Stop loss 15, take profit 50 to the upside. There we go. There. Okay, I'm happy with that now. You're most welcome there, Jamil. Diana, I had 2 loss and 1 win power trading on my challenge account. Hey, sometimes even on days you can have more losses than wins. Just make sure you keep, don't deviate. Keep with that risk, well managed risk. It's still okay. It's a long-term game. It's a long-term game. Don't feel like you have to. Not every day is a winning day. Okay. And sometimes even 2 loss and 1 win is still a profitable day. Alrighty. Now that pushing, looking like we might see that push up off that resistance. Thinking about 8545. Too far away. 854, no, I like 8545. 8545, stop loss 25 pips. Take profit 50 pips to the upside. Yes, I'm okay with that. That's quite close. So we're looking at that move there. I'm thinking 8540 could be. We do 20 and we can do, I wouldn't do that. Okay. I'll still keep it at 8545. I like that one better. Give it a bit more space. Let the bounce on the dollar index develop and then pull the US Swiss franc up. Okay. So this one we're looking to buy 0.8545. Stop loss 20, take profit 50 to the upside. Buy, yep, 25. Let's do that one. All right, there we go. Jamil close pound with 22. Jin now today no trade. Take us some. Yes, hey, it's Friday. It's also a good withdrawal day as well. And from what I've been reading, from what I remember from Jamil, you have a big withdrawal to be had. A big withdrawal. Okay, so with US yen sitting right there now, but we're anticipating maybe a push to the upside. US Swiss franc maybe pushing to the upside with that dollar strength, dragging it up. Then looking at the Swiss yen, right? So pushing up would, US Swiss franc pushing up would mean Swiss weakness leading to that push to the downside. Yen pushing up might counteract it a little bit. Take those away. Now it is that point there. I got a bit too many lines. I need to clear out some. It's confusing. We don't need that one. That one's fine. We have it break back down. Where's my 50? It's right at 50 now. Think that it's more likely to break to the downside given, because we're anticipating the US Swiss franc to push up, right? So that Swiss franc weakness is going to drag that down. I think this level, where it is right now, is going to be very important. This level is going to be very important. And remember, we're talking about the Swiss yen it's very high, it broke up, looks like it's going to retrace a bit now. At that point, what you're looking for, oh, I just realized it's 4. What you're looking at is, I see that, I'm a bit surprised with that because there's a resistance, but we're looking for that to push up. So it's likely to sit around here for a while, right? Because it's at that 50. I think what could happen, okay, this is what I think could happen. Bit of a bounce up, then break back down again. All right, so it got to 50. It's going to bounce back up a little bit, maybe not as much as I drew. Bounce back up a little bit before pushing back down, especially if we see the dollar strength come back into play, and we see the US Swiss franc push to the upside. We're going to see that bounce, not so much. Bounce like that, and then after that push back down. Okay, that's my view. Could be down to that 169.50 level. Jamil's on 15 grand. Very nice. That's a, how long was the last, since the last withdrawal? Weekly withdrawal of 15,000? Fantastic. Dinah is asking what's the correlation between US and the Swiss franc. It is positively correlated. That means if you see the dollar index pushing to the upside, you're likely to see the US Swiss franc pushing to the upside as well. Okay? Yeah, big congrats to Jamil. Okay, did I do that one already? Yes, okay. Then onto the US. Oh, I mean, if you trade Swiss yen, then see if the US Swiss franc, if the dollar strengthens, pushing the US Swiss franc up, one is that the dollar gets stronger. That's why we see the US Swiss franc push up. But that also means that the Swiss franc is getting weaker against the dollar, but getting weaker as well. So if that's weaker, if the CHF is getting weaker, then the CHF JPY being weaker is likely to trade to the downside, right? It's likely to push to the downside. So I would say it would be inversely related. Inversely, yeah. Now, US CAD, no, remember CPI next week for the Canadians, no CAD news. So that pushed up, I didn't get into the CAD. CAD is not one of my major things that I trade. About 25 pip move to the upside before coming back down. Now pushing back down. One thing to look out for is not a perfect head and shoulder pattern, but it's a weak head and shoulder pattern here, and with that as a bit of a neckline and that trend line as well. You see that trend line there. If that breaks, heading lower, it's a bit odd because we are seeing the dollar supposedly push back up. So this is an alternative view where you could be looking at US CAD 1.3360 just to be extra safe. Stop loss 15. Take profit 40 pips to the downside. Okay, there we go. US CAD. Looking to sell 1.3360. Stop loss 15, take profit 50. Was it 50? 40. 40 to the downside. There we go. Alrighty. Fantastic. Okay, there we go. Yeah, okay. You're most welcome there, Jamil. You're most welcome there. Hey, and I love it. I love it when, you know, especially for everyone else, if you're trading and or you're clicking a withdraw on your account, share it in the community. Let us know. I love to know that everyone in my community is clicking withdrawals, $15,000, $1,500, 500, whatever the amount you're withdrawing is a profit. Share it in there. I love to know that, you know, my trading community is a profitable trading community. Okay, so make sure you do that. Then onto gold. All right, gold yesterday we were saying below 2031 could go down to 2019. Look at that, it shot up as we know, and then it came back down below 2031. It went straight down to 2019, all the way down to 2013 before pushing back up again. A little bit surprising that it's pushing back up that much. Dollar index, I think, is going to stay within that range. It might trade down before pushing back up again. Now, if it breaks above 2040, if it breaks above 2040, then that one, we need another level here. No. Yep. Okay, we're done with that one. We need those two levels. All right, so we have that big move down. It's retraced to that point. So it needs to break 2040, could get to 2045, 2044, 90, so 25. Push up. Above 2045, you could get to 2055. I think that there might be some move back down because of the way the dollar index is likely to move. It's pushing back down now. So it might, what we're looking for here is maybe something like that. Right, so we're still looking at a 102 support level. Looking for this to push up. What you could be looking for above 2045 could get to 2055. So that one above. Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, of course, not dollars. Euros, dollars, whatever your withdrawal, just share it in the community. I'm always happy to know that everyone is profitable. 2045 could trade up to 2055. There we go. Of 25. Yep. Okay. There we go. Yes. Okay. There we have it. Any further questions? Any questions, anyone? Oh, Dane, yes, I did pound dollar already. You can check the replay again. OJ Mets, good morning. How are you doing? We just did gold, Jay. And Investor Dave, we just did the euro dollar. Well, we not just, but we did the euro dollar as well. So again, if you want to be like Jamil, if you want to trade well, trade safe, then please join us on the Discord channel. The link is there for you guys. I look forward to seeing you all on Discord. Hey, help me out massively, please. Click the like and subscribe button. The more you click it, the more profitable you get. Right? I hope it's that way. And also big congrats to Jamil again. I'll see you all next week, same time, same place. Lingopedia is weekly closing. What do you think about gold? Just did gold as well. Okay, thank you Desiree, thank you Diana, thanks Erwin, thanks Pips Apprentice. Please remember, trade well, trade safe. Hey Lainey, thank you. Please remember, trade well, trade safe. If there's no trade, don't force it out. You can't move the markets, you can only react to it. Take care now. Happy weekend.